So Dan, thank you for being on the channel. Thank you for this opportunity to interview you. I know you're an expert technical analysis and know you have a lot of knowledge to give people on technical analysis, but also on your success, how you get to that, how you do it. And I'm sure a lot of people need to know this. It's something that will help them. So thank you very much. I have to admit I am a fan. I watch all of your videos.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me, Paul.
Okay, so Dan, tell me a little bit about your life. How did you get into cryptocurrency? Well, how did you get into technical analysis?
So I started in college and I went to school for business management where I didn't learn anything about stocks. But
Uh-huh.
while I was in school, I had some money that I saved up from high school jobs and they were sitting in mutual funds and I didn't know anything about trading or anything like that. But I
Yeah.
realized that I didn't want a 9 to 5. And I saw my dad, you know, commute to work every single day for decades. And I didn't want to do that. So I said, all right, I'm going to take some risk. I'm going to put my money into some higher risk, higher reward things. And it was in the US marijuana sector back 8 years ago. And once I put my money in, I realized very quickly that people who were using charts knew things that were going to happen, had a much better sense of things. And I wanted to have that knowledge. So I started the quest to learning and I hit YouTube and articles. And in the forums, I found a mentor and he was extremely generous and had been trading. And I saw that he knew what he was talking about in terms of technical analysis. So he took me under his wing and answered all my questions and helped
Hmm.
guide my path towards learning technical analysis. And he literally changed my life. So that was step number one of entering the space. And then a whole lot of studying for years and years and learning from experiences and all of that was then to follow. So back in school was my original motivation and kept it going from there.
You know, it's funny you mentioned a mentor. I mean, I had a mentor in every stage of my life, and I've noticed that mentors have mentors. All successful people have a mentor. They have someone to look up to. And it's funny because one of my mentors, Mr. Mario, he introduced me to the stock market. He had me reading books on technical analysis, mostly candlestick trading by Steve Nissan, and also books on, I think it was a book on how to slim. I can't remember it. SLIM, Slim Can or Can Slim, the rules of following stocks. And he had me studying for about a year, year and a half. And he told me that the difference is knowledge. Knowledge is key. It's what makes somebody a good trader or anything in life and not. So he had me reading all those books. I actually got to the point of teaching Forex. I was never, I wouldn't say I was a very good technical analyst, though. I blagged most of my way through that job. I was good at I was good at teaching. I was not very good at doing.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's funny you mentioned mentor. Is this something? This is something that contributed to your success? Do you believe that? I mean, hey, Paul here. Let me jump in real quick. If you're getting value so far from watching this video, then please consider subscribing down below and hitting that bell notification button. It will help me and you get to watch more videos like this one. Thank you, and let's jump back into the video.
Absolutely, and it's honestly it's the human interaction aspect where if you're just reading and looking on the screen, it's very dry. It's a dry topic. But if you have human interaction and someone is putting things in their own words and answering questions, it really
Yeah.
makes all the difference in the world. So that's what I'm trying to do now, and why I put out all these videos for free is any information that people can gain from these videos from hearing it from somebody else. I do think that is a very beneficial learning style as opposed to just reading articles and listening to videos.
And that's another thing. Successful people in general, they want to teach, they want to share knowledge. And a lot of people don't seem to understand this. They think that the rich people, the successful people, they do not want to help. They're greedy. They want everything for themselves. And there's always something behind that. Yet, I think people that have made it in life, they're more eager to help other people if they're not judged all the time. Do you find this true?
Absolutely. Yeah, I get that question early on. I got that question all the time. If technical analysis works, why aren't you a billionaire? And why are you doing this? And the answer is that it is intrinsically rewarding and it feels really good to help people and get messages about changing people's lives. That's really what motivates me to continue doing this, and I don't think I'll ever stop.
I'll tell you. I can hear that reverb again. If you guys are hearing reverb, by the way, it's okay. We like being heard twice. So, so real quick, it's very true. Yeah, successful people want to help people, and you know what I've noticed, which I'm not sure you've come across this, but technical analysis, the same sort of fundamentals of technical analysis. Yeah, they work everywhere. They don't just work in the stock market. They don't just work in cryptocurrency, which is the new thing right now. I actually use technical analysis to evaluate sales reps I teach, and I can actually forecast as they're getting better if they're going to go up or if they're going to go down. It's crazy, but it's true, and that is something I've self-discovered. I haven't read anywhere, and I'm still kind of like experimenting with it, but it does work. It works on people, and I guess it's because it's people's psychology, right? It's market psychology, yes?
Yeah, I don't doubt that at all. I always said you could give me a chart on anything, and as long as it's data that can be charted, it can use technical analysis.
Okay, because a lot of people called me crazy, but it was true. All right, so I got to ask you at this point, because I did already mention cryptocurrency, and I was supposed to ask this later on, but I noticed a difference between crypto and stocks. I actually did, and more on the emotional side. It was very hard for me to keep my emotions intact. But would you say there's a difference in technical analysis in the traditional stock market and in cryptocurrency?
I would. And when I started trading the space back in early summer of last year, 2017. So certainly not as long as some people, but the first thing I noticed was technical analysis worked really well. And I had never traded that well. My win percentage was way higher, and it was a really good feeling. But when reflecting upon it, it came to me that it was probably because, number one, there's less bots and less, at that point in time, there were less bots and less manipulation, less big time money having their way with things. And it was really just purely human emotion that was reacting here. And it was most of the people in the space at that point were not traders, and they were not used to all of this. So those of us that were used to this, and at that point I had been doing technical analysis for 7 years, so we just hit the ground running, and it was very, very easy at the start to use technical analysis to stay one step ahead of the herd.
Yeah. Would you say emotion is the hardest thing to keep in check?
It is one of the most important things that you need to do as a trader, is have your emotions in check. And that's something that I've been reflecting on as well, where, I didn't actively study psychology with trading in mind, but growing up through my education in high school and in college, I was taking psychology courses, and I read books by, Jung and Freud, and definitely that applied to my knowledge subconsciously, funnily enough, as I wasn't really, aware. I wasn't consciously saying, I'm going to study this stuff for trading, but it definitely had an impact. And if you can conquer your emotions, you have to conquer your emotions if you're going to be a long-term successful trader.
Yeah, you just mentioned reading. That's another trait that I find in common. I read a lot of books, and everyone I know that's been successful just reads a lot. I don't do a book a day like Ty Lopez, but I do try and do a book a week, or maybe every 2 weeks. Do you read a lot?
I have read my entire life growing up. The past couple of years, I've actually slowed down my reading because I'm so busy, doing what I'm doing now. But I have always been a big reader, and I look forward to when I have more time to doing it in the future as well. Definitely a big fan, and I do agree that it does contribute greatly to intelligence and knowledge and all of that.
Okay. This interview is going to go back and forth because it's so interesting. So I'm going to be going into, it was supposed to be all nicely in a nice little flow, but that's not going to happen, man.
All right.
People that know me know I'm not really good at organizing. I'm not an order person. I'm very chaotic in life in general. I actually wrote 2 books, by the way. I wrote Success IAO, Improvise, Adapt, and Overcome, and also The Closers Part 3 with living legend Ben Gay III. And did you ever aspire to write a book? Did you want to write a book? Or is your YouTube videos kind of like your book?
Honestly, in the past couple of months, I have started considering it. and someone actually reached out to me and they're writing a book, and I wrote a little excerpt for them. And
Nice.
I do think that, whether it's me actually writing the book or whether I'm dictating it via audio and video and someone else transcribing, there will be a book in the future. Absolutely.
Nice, nice. Yeah. So right now, I know that everyone's wondering something, and it's something totally relevant to what we were talking about. And that's, how old are you?
I'm 29. The big 3 O's coming up in 5 months.
29 years old, and you're doing great. So age is actually a number. When would you say you became successful? When you actually tasted success, you actually said, "Okay, I'm a trader. I'm making money. This is it."
I started at 22, I would say a couple years in. So maybe 24, 25 is when it hit that I will do this for the rest of my life and can make a living doing it. And it's sustainable long term.
Did you have to give up things in order to achieve your success? Did you have to let things go just to make it, or?
Time, definitely lots of time, putting in many, many thousands of hours at this point in terms of reviewing and, studying the charts. And every time I give analysis to people, I'm benefiting from it as well. I'm hearing myself, and there are concepts where someone will ask me a question and it's something that I've never really formulated into words and put that thought out there. And then once I do, it definitely benefits me, and it drives it closer to home hearing myself say it. So it's definitely a very beneficial thing to put in a ton of hours. But other than that, I would say, no, I've still been able to live my life the way I wanted to. I was traveling and road tripping around with my laptop trading and doing everything that I wanted to.
That's a nice life. It takes a lot to get there, though. They say that, actually, I've witnessed it, and most of my mentors I've talked to, they've been through it the same time, is once you become successful, even on the road to becoming successful, but as you're becoming successful, you lose a lot of people out your life. And this is usually because people work in herds. And once you get out that herd, they have to judge it, they have to put it down. It's a biological thing, but at the same time, a psychological thing. It's not always because they're bad people. It's just a thing that triggers in them that they have to say, he thinks he's better than everyone, and they start down. Have you noticed this? Have you lived through this?
I have not, but I've also, on my personal side of things, my personal Facebook page or whatever, I'm not really all business. I'm not posting my stuff. It's almost two separate worlds, and people are now that get interested in cryptocurrency, they find out like, oh, this is what you do. So I've definitely kept it separate. I'm not putting it in people's faces or anything like that. So I haven't experienced it, which is wonderful. And also the group of friends that I do have is the greatest people I've ever met. So
that's great.
They're sticking around.
I kept a couple of friends, but I lost a lot of people along my way. It depends, I guess. That's good, though. That's very good. It's great you can balance it out like that. So, and by the way, if you guys watching right now, write down in the links below in the description. We have the chart guys. We have Dan's channel, the YouTube channel, his technical analysis, his guides, everything you can possibly imagine is going to be down in the description below. I urge you guys to go check it out if you're into trading. And also, even if you're not into trading, watch his videos. Even if you're just in success, see how he thinks, see how technical analysts think. It really has a lot more to do with your success than what you think. So let me know real quick, Dan, what does it take to become a technical analyst?
It takes a lot of studying. So having the step in an organized brain, there's definitely, people ask me, can anybody do it? And anybody that puts in the time can definitely use technical analysis to make more informed financial decisions. But in terms of, people have different kinds of brains. There's artistic people and there's people that are analytical. And people that are analytical and good with numbers are going to have an easier time. It doesn't mean people that can't do it. It's just going to take more time, and it's going to be a little bit harder for them. So if you are putting in the time, and if you are studying, definitely education comes before anything. You don't just jump in. My analogy is, you don't go to Vegas with real money and sit it down at a poker table to learn how to play poker. You have to practice. You have to put the education in first, and then you start to play around in the market. You don't play around in the market and then lose. This is what most people do. They play around in the market and then lose, and then they either give up or then they realize, oh, I had no idea what I was doing. Now it's time to get some education. But education comes first. You put in the hours. The more experience you have, the better. If you're interacting with the community of people, again, that human interaction really drives home points more significantly, and it's a good support system. It feels like you have a team on your side, and that's what I love about stocks is, you don't have to be against everybody. You can have teams where if some of us are making money, we can all be making money. And I really love the human interaction part of it, and that's why we did create the chart guys to build a community around.
That's great, and that was one of the best quotes I've ever heard, and that applies to everything. You don't learn to play poker at the poker table in Vegas. Did you come up with that, or did someone tell you this, or?
I'm pretty sure I came up with that. I wouldn't say 100%, but I'm saying 95% I came up with that.
That's going straight into my automated tweet posts as quotes. That was awesome. And that's definitely getting included in my book, by the way.
Great.
Okay, so what don't people know about you, man? What don't they know about Dan?
Well, not everybody looks at all the videos, but I'd say I'm an organic farmer that trades. I'm not a trader that farms. So that's my backbone. That's where I find my balance in life. That's where my passion is. I obviously am passionate about technical analysis, but that's the other side of things. And they're two very opposing worlds. And that's why I think they balance each other out so well. But, come spring and summer, I'm out in the yard or out in the field and planting things and taking care of animals and really enjoying that side of life as well.
And that's very interesting for people that are into cryptocurrency right now. They're farming, he's mining. But yeah, actually that's great, and it's very important. Nutrition and healthness, it applies into the business world and to success very much so. Would you say you learned any lessons from farming that actually helped in trading stocks or technical analysis
Yeah, patience is a big one, definitely. And risk management, having to keep certain crops from being subject to certain conditions and knowing how to hedge against it. So let's say I worked on a farm where we did farmers markets for a while. And if our entire cucurbits crop is going to go out, we need to have a field across the farm that has cucurbits in it as a background, and cucurbits are cucumbers and squash and things like that. But just spreading things out so you don't have all your eggs in one basket, and you're diversifying on the farm like you would in the stock world.
Like intercropping. It's like diversifying. Yeah, that's great. That's actually awesome. I'm enjoying this interview, Dan. And comment down below if you have any questions for Dan, because by the way, I'm gonna interview him again. There's no way I'm gonna let him go that easy now that I have him. So if you have any questions, go ahead and comment down below. We would love to hear them. And maybe we can do this live as well,
Sure.
one day. So you've had successes and you've had failures. Talk to me about both of them.
So the first failure that sticks out in my mind is a big hit that I took, and I started trading in penny stocks, and I quickly learned it was the Wild West. But there was a time where I've been a short-term trader most of my life, and I held a position in a Chinese, probably a Chinese pharmaceutical company overnight, and it was just a short-term little 2-day trade I was going for, and it halted overnight. And I lost $5,000 overnight. And at that point in my career, that was a significant portion of my capital. And the lesson that I learned, it told me that I could do this for a living. And that's because after it happened and I took this huge hit, I didn't feel sick to my stomach, and I got over it very, very quickly. And I remember thinking to myself, wow, I can't believe this isn't affecting me more. And the fact that I can take a loss or make a mistake and not be bumming around and moping around, and my friends have no idea whether I made $5,000 or lost $5,000 that day, that emotional control told me that I can do this long term. And so that loss was a big lesson, and it definitely gave me confidence going forward. So the successes are great, and you can learn from those, but the biggest lessons come from your mistakes. And if you do not learn from your mistakes, obviously you're going to continue repeating them and you're not going to make it long term. So mistakes are great. They're going to happen all the time. I've made hundreds of mistakes in my career. And as long as you're learning from them every time and you're not repeating yourself over and over, that is beneficial and progressing you forward.
Yeah. You know, one of my mentors told me success comes from inspiration or devastation, and it's usually the latter.
Yeah.
So you have to fail to succeed. People don't understand that. The more I remember about a year and a half ago, I was fighting cancer. And while I was fighting cancer, I actually wrote 2 books. I was very like gung-ho. And this was when I actually succeeded, because I went bankrupt a couple of times in my life. I lost everything, made things back, lost everything again, made things back. And I actually had somebody come to my YouTube channel, which was new. And you could see me. I had no hair, no eyebrows and everything. And he started saying, yeah, Paul has failed so many times, as a failure in life, and blah, 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 and all this. I'm like, okay, things like 10 years ago, meanwhile. And my life was completely changed. I'm like, wow, this person must really not like me. But I had definition of a hater. And I was so happy, because up to that point, I used to, I heard this phrase called, that said, you don't have haters, you just have people that don't like you. This was definitely a hater.
Yeah, they're out there. It's fascinating. And when I first started this and putting myself out there, I had thin skin and I had to learn. You can't, I used to want to respond to everybody. My business partner would keep telling me, don't feed the trolls. Like, it's just an endless game and they'll waste your time. Clearly, there's something going on psychologically with those people where they're not happy and they're not where they want to be. And that's their way of dealing with it, which unfortunately is not a productive way. And they're going to stay in the same rut. But it's something that you just have to be able to shake off and continue doing your thing, because it's going to be, no matter what, it is inevitable that if you're doing something and you're putting yourself out there and you could be doing really, really well, it doesn't matter. You're going to have haters.
Yeah. And, people learn most from other people's failures. And that's another thing. Like, I actually wrote all my failures, well, most of them, in my book. You know what I mean? Because that's where you learn. You want to get people not to do the same mistakes. And, failures, I think, are very important. You can't not fail. I think it's impossible to succeed without failure, actually. So tell me, how did you push through your worst times in life? What would you say is what kept you, making you go forward?
I have definitely had a really good life, and I don't have the hardships that many people have had to deal with. So I have personally just always remained calm, and nature has been my go-to. I can remember, whether something happened in the stock market world that it was a big hit or something like that. I can remember going out and sitting on the beach and just putting everything into perspective and separating from money. That's another big thing, is losing the emotional ties with money and realizing they're just numbers on a screen and they'll come and go. Yeah. And that's not the important things in life. Being able to look beyond that and move past that has allowed me to continue going. And just loving life and having escapes, places that I can go to out in the woods or wherever to escape anything that is, bringing me down. And that can refresh and renew my psychology and my mindset and get ready to hit the ground running and continue pushing forward. So I would say nature is the biggest thing. That's my happy place and where I can, really calm down and meditate and clear my mind.
I actually go fishing.
There you go. Very similar.
Well, it's very true. Yeah, you need to step back, and once you learn how to make money, once you learn to make your first million or whatever, after that you can always make it back. It's just once you do it one time, that's the hardest. Your first million, that will be your hardest million. That's what I was told, and that's what I have experienced in general. Is when it's the first money. Yeah, then you just know.
And once you get it, you have the confidence. You're right. You can, I could stop trading stocks for 5 years, and then once I need money again, start trading stocks again. And I have the confidence that, I can get money when I need it. and it's just a commodity like anything else. You know, it comes and goes, and it's an energetic flow too. I definitely feel if the people that are hoarding it and very stingy with their money, it doesn't come as easily as if you're very open with it. It flows in both directions.
Yep, you can't save your way to $1 million, my friend. And yeah, in general, the act of giving money. Okay, I actually believe it works on quite a few levels. First of all, okay, no matter what you believe in, okay, God, the universe, it will give it back, yeah? But the second thing, it works on a fundamental principle that if you give it out and you help people, first of all, you feel good, but also it eliminates the feeling of money being scarce, sorry, depending on where you live, England, of scarcity. So I think it's very important to give and help. And even if you don't get it back, I really believe that.
Absolutely. It's an abundance mindset and confidence and abundance.
Yeah. So what keeps you awake at night, man?
I sleep like a baby. I'm a very good sleeper. I nap. Honestly, my productivity is with working with the chart guys and all that. I'm a great napper too. And I'll nap in the middle of the day for 20 minutes and it completely recharges me for the second half of the day. So, I definitely have concerns about the world and the political landscape and all these different things. But in the end, there's really, I have a very positive outlook on life, and it's gone great so far in terms of keeping me on the right path. And yeah, I don't have too much stress and worry in my life, and I'm very grateful for that.
Okay. I personally do not watch the news, do not watch TV. Whenever I do see them and I see some sort of news, I start thinking about it, start analyzing it, and I realize I just wasted my time. So I just don't watch it completely. I had a TV in this room, and in my other room, I have 3 TVs, okay? I don't even have cable in 2 of them. I don't even have one of them only, and that's when I have guests. I don't know, maybe they want to watch the soccer or something like that. Or when my girlfriend's over, she wants to watch Survivor. Which gives me time to work, actually. You said you have no stress and you can sleep at night, and I think I know the reason, Dan. That's because you're a short-term trader. Because when I'm sleeping at night, I'm like this. I'm looking at portfolio. Shit, I'm running out. Panic selling.
Absolutely. Being all cash is the greatest thing. It's so comfortable. It definitely, especially in cryptocurrency, I couldn't do it if I were not a short-term trader and comfortably in cash the majority of the time. It is you're absolutely right. That is a significant factor in my ability to stay calm and not stressed.
This is something I want to learn at some point. Right now, I've realized that I just invested a sum of money and I'm just leaving it there. And I might swing trade from time to time. And this is why I said I'm not a good trader. I realized I lost more money if I would have won a lot more money if I didn't do anything at all. Because I had big positions in some great coins. As soon as I saw that I made a little bit of money, but I lost long term, I realized I'm not a trader. And you have to admit in life, you have to admit what you're not good at, and then decide if you want to become good at it. And if you want to become good at it, you need to study. You need a coach. Everyone needs a coach. Yeah. And yeah.
That's a very, for me, it's the opposite, where I have a hard time holding long term. And so that's something that I try and work on under the right conditions. If I see the right scenario, it's more of this, okay, I want to hold this longer term. I need to get away from the screen, set my stop loss level and forget it. And that's something that I work towards to be able to switch up my game plan a little bit and to work on areas of weakness.
Do you hold anything else like gold or anything long term?
No, I trade it long term, and I definitely will, next time we get, and maybe this is the start of it, but next time we get a significant market pullback, I will start establishing long-term positions. But under the current euphoric mindset of this market, I am a lot of cash and short-term positions.
It's funny. A couple of times I wanted to get out and put 1/3 of my capital in cash, but have it on exchanges ready. The first time I didn't do it when Bitcoin went up to 19,000, I wanted to hodl. And then the second time I said I'm going to do it, and it was around 17,000. I didn't, and it went down. It went back up again, of course. And the last time I think it was around 15,000 or 14,000 or something like that in euros. I'm talking, by the way. And I'm like, oh, I had a trip to Poland because I'm moving there for business. It's just going to be a lot easier with the countries where I'm going to be working around, and a lot easier having a base set up there rather than Greece, which I am now. And I'm actually moving on the 16th of this month.
Cool.
Yeah. And I said, you know what? I went for a week just to get some things, get some meetings done. And I'm like, you know what? I'll just do it when I get back. Boy, was that a mistake.
Yeah.
That just, like, it would, and then I saw it go back up to $13,000 the other day. And then I'm like, Now, of course, I can't remember the exact amounts of money. I might be off or on a few thousand, but that's exactly what happened. Anyway, so what's the one okay, so what does your family know you for? The one characteristic that you're known for within your loved one, within your family?
Probably, yeah, my organized, intelligent brain going through school, where it's just my mind and the way my mind works is designed to fit really well in the Western schooling system and standardized tests and all that. And I fully see that, that's not for everybody, and that doesn't mean those people aren't smart. It's just a very boxed in kind of learning style and test style and things like that. So my whole life I always did well in school, and that's definitely what my family would know me for. And there was a joke, against my brother, where my parents would be like, oh, Matt, you got a C, great job. And Dan, you got a B, what happened? And that's just because our minds work different. And he was an artsy kind of person, and I was more of the analytical type.
Got you. And what's the one thing that people characteristic people say about you that don't like you?
That's a good question. Don't like me. Fortunately, there's not many people that don't like me. I'd say, I've encountered the most of them on the internet, that's for sure. I would say probably my confidence, and maybe that confidence makes them feel insecure or lacking, or I'm not sure what. But yeah, just being confident and comfortable, that's probably what triggers some people.
A lot of people don't like that, and I get it a lot too, and I've noticed a lot of people get it. And that's another thing I just want to talk about, a little spin-off of that. A lot of people, they see a guy with a lot of money with a young girlfriend, and they're hugging and everything. And I'm 40 years old, by the way. My girlfriend's 24. And what they don't understand is it's not the money. It's the confidence that money brings you, the security that money brings you, and the way you carry yourself. It's the same kind of confidence that broke guy that would bully everybody in school and fight that always had the nice girl. It's not the money, guys. Do you agree with this?
Yeah, definitely makes sense.
All right, so the next question is that I have down for you, because I've actually had a lot of questions I had for you, Dan. All right, so what are your success habits? Do you have anything like any? I'm actually I can't think of the word right now. Not paradigms, but rituals, morning rituals, or anything like that.
Yeah, definitely having routines and sticking to the routines that work. So I wake up early. I wake up before the sun, and at this point, it's just automatic. Even on the weekends, I'll wake up early and just be ready to go and work, and loving my work. I look forward to waking up and on a Saturday morning and making some videos. And it seems crazy after making videos all week, but I really enjoy what I do. And the routine, obviously, as you said, health, eating well and exercising and taking care of yourself, it's all connected mentally, physically, psychologically, emotionally. Those are all pieces to the puzzle that make up successful routine. And then once you have that routine down, you just get to hit the repeat button and continue doing it.
Now, people can see this in your voice, and you know what? I've actually heard a lot of people talk to you about your voice. It's you actually have a great voice, by the way,
I
and
appreciate it.
I can hear the enthusiasm in it when you're talking about, and the confidence in it. So it actually comes out and portrays in your voice. Did you practice, or was it just something that just comes out, or?
It just happened, and I've never heard that about my voice until I started doing this. And people, say they put me on to go to sleep. And there's actually we have members whose little kids will listen to me and they'll watch the videos before bed. And yeah, I love hearing that. And you can hear, I mean, when I first started doing this, we have all the videos recorded, and it's a different person. It's night and day.
Yeah.
And it's a lack of confidence. And when I first started the chart guys and doing this, it was kind of like, does anybody want to hear what I have to say, and not being sure. And then once I started to get the positive feedback, that positive feedback was very significant, because that built the confidence. And then it was just a self-fulfilling prophecy and a positive feedback cycle. And that is when it really I got more and more comfortable, and my flow got better. And at this point, it's like a freestyle rapper, but technical analysis, the words, I don't even look at a chart before I do a video on it most times. And it just jumps out, and
Wow.
there's very little between my brain and my mouth. It just flows right out. And it is that confidence and experience and doing it, over time, that definitely has put me where I am here in terms of speaking and flow.
And you know what? I'll say this right now. You take anybody's voice, take out the confidence and the experience, and the same voice won't sound any good. The same voice with the experience and with the confidence, that's what gives the magic.
Absolutely, I agree with that.
So, um, so you do give a lot of value in free technical analysis on YouTube, and we have talked about that earlier on. But would you say that contributed to your success in any way?
Absolutely, in a huge way. We haven't done paid advertising, and we have more. Right now we have a capped membership and 2,000 people on a wait list, and it's all from free videos. It's no paid advertising, and so it's just putting it out there and saying, if you're interested, there's more steps to this. If you're interested and can't afford those more steps, I'm going to keep putting out content, and you'll still be able to benefit from it, maybe just not as much. But I suggest this to everybody in whatever line of business they're in. If you have content, put some content out for free.
Yeah.
Let people connect to you. Let people, start to want to know more, and that leads to a path where they come to your other content.
And you don't even need to have a lot of videos, because people are very scared, like, oh, okay, I'm a small fish, I won't have no views and everything. I had 100 subscribers when I got a collaboration with Nick Nimmin, which at the time had 50,000. Now he has something like 140,000. And I actually, right now I have about 1,000 subscribers, but I'll tell you this. When I had 300 subscribers, I was making more money from that YouTube channel than people that had thousands. And really, and it also opened up a lot of doors. It actually got me, because I did a lot of sales videos, Ben Gay III actually watched my sales videos, and that's one of the key factors that he decided to write a book with me. So, and I also use that book to get into other businesses. Even now that I'm going to Poland, they saw my videos. They were very impressed. It's not the amount of subscribers you have. It's the value you bring, what you give. People know you're not an editor. They know you're not a movie star. They want to hear what you have to say, what you have to give. And if you're not confident in the beginning, and they have to scavenge it out of you, that's fine. They still getting value.
Yep, absolutely agree. Very good points.
One word. I know we told you about what people know you for, but now you can tell me one word that describes you.
I think a lot of people, I'd say funny. A lot of people don't, I have little jabs that I make in my videos, but I mostly try and keep a serious tone and stay on topic. But in the real world, I'm joking all the time and very lighthearted, and that allows me to not stay emotionally tied to things and be able to laugh things off and to live lightheartedly. That definitely has been beneficial.
Yeah. I actually started doing my live YouTube videos now. I just started saying funny stories instead of trying to give video, because every time I went live, it just didn't feel, the live advice I would give, it just didn't feel right. I felt like no one was watching and I wasn't really myself. And one day I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to be funny.
Yeah.
I'll just be myself. And I had more engagement that way. I had more fun anyway. It doesn't matter if anybody else didn't like it. All right. So what else do you think contributed? Well, what else do you believe contributed to your success?
Like I said, I can't disregard my mentor and what he did for me. So his generosity was very significant because he was doing it for free. He was answering my questions for free. And so that has inspired me definitely to the amount of free content that we put out. A lot of that is the attempt to pay it forward and to realize that he changed my life. And if I can just help change one other person's life, that paying it forward definitely is something that I strive to do.
One of my mentors, Mr. Mario, the same one as the first one I told you about, he actually paid me when I went bankrupt one of the times. He actually paid me 20 euros a day to walk with him for an hour. And in that hour, he would give me advice. And his argument was that he couldn't get out of bed. But yeah, that kind of helped me, get out. I don't think I ever mentioned that before. He actually gave me 20 euros a day for an hour to walk with him. And I should be paying him. I should have been paying him. So if you could change one thing in your life, what would it be and why?
Oh, let's see. I've had a really good life. I would say, I'm on my path towards finding where I want to live in my life in terms of, having my own little farm and my own little sanctuary. So I'm making steps towards that, looking forward to it. So I would say if I were there right now, that would be great. And that would help me be even more grounded and, in a state of very significant happiness where I have, I can walk out my back door and be on my farm and then come in and do videos. I would love to do that. And I will do that eventually. I guess it would, if I could speed up that process, but not really worried about that. It'll happen in the near term future and it will be great when it does.
And now I have to ask, obviously you're not driven by money, you're driven by success. So money would be a tool for you. Why? What do you think? How do you see money?
It's definitely a tool. I love that there are instances where a small amount of money can mean a very large amount to certain individuals. So, ever since the chart guys and ever since trading success, I do things like tip more and I carry more 20s for homeless people and giving a 20 to someone, that's not going to affect me in terms of, my financial standpoint, but it can absolutely make that person's week. And to be able to do that is really powerful. And so I feel that, having that as a tool, like you say, to do good is definitely something that is what I strive to do in this life. And, once I have my farm, I'm going to be, saving rescue animals and being able to feed them with this money. So it's definitely a tool and, growing extra vegetables to give to neighbors, things like that. Just being able to help the local community is very empowering and rewarding.
Would you rather give somebody 20 euros or would you rather give him a book? And I'm even talking about a homeless person right now. I'm being extreme, but let's be extreme.
If it's the right book, it definitely could be the book. That would have a more, if it's going to inspire somebody, that would be much more useful than that temporary $20 help.
Yeah. So you mentioned before about helping people with farming and everything like that. It just reminded me of something. It reminded me of two things. One is, if you want to get somewhere fast, go on your own. If you want to get somewhere far, do it together with other people. And that's one thing I kept in business. And the other thing is, if you had 20 people homeless people, people, a community of people that don't have a house, okay? Everybody trying to build a house on their own would be impossible. But if all these 20 people got together and built one house, and then got all together and built the one house for the next person, and then this is one thing people could do to change the world. And there's a lot of things we can do to change the world, and we just don't do it. For example, and I'm just going to tell you an example now, and I want you to brainstorm with me, if you will. We'll do a little experiment here.
Sure.
All right? So, local parks, instead of trees and planting trees, planting fruit for homeless people to be able to eat or people to pick to give to them.
Absolutely. Functionality. Big fan of, I see people's lawns, and as a farmer, people manicuring their lawns is such a waste of time to me when you can literally put food there. That's a great point, and I absolutely agree that, things that return rewards and benefits are, we should prioritize.
How about this? And hiring all the homeless people to do a project or to work on certain projects, whether it's building or whatever, or teaching them something, building, and putting them on a construction site or whatever. Of course, in America, they're going to say you're taking advantage of them because I don't know why. But anyway, that is an idea, though.
Yeah.
Would you think that'd work?
I definitely agree. Anything that you can do. I mean, your example of a book versus $20, if it's going to give inspiration, it will pay off significantly more. And, giving people a job and giving them, allowing them to gain confidence, and say, wow, look at what we accomplished together. And that definitely can do a lot more than a short-term fix. And that's why, with the chart guys, a lot of people with stocks, they want alerts, tell me when to buy and sell.
Yeah.
And that's not what we do. We want to teach people to have the confidence to take charge of their own financial independence and to do it for themselves. And it's, the old adage of teach a person to fish as opposed to giving them a fish. And it is definitely, it's very beneficial to inspire people by showing them that they can do things themselves. And that's a great way to better people's lives.
Okay, and it's also a great time for me to plug my book. So a little graphics just going to pop out right there. You can actually get my book, Success IAO, for free right now. All you need to do is go to my website, successiao.com. Give me your email address. I can spam the shit out of you. No, just kidding. Give me your email address, and I promise I won't spam you. I'll be sending just content of value every 3 or 4 days. But you can get this book for free. No strings attached, no pay for postage, Gimmick, or anything like that. You just get it for free, okay? And it's the only book to include action plans to help you make money from zero capital starting right now. So, guys, you can get that. And I'll send you a copy, by the way, Dan, if you
I'll check it out,
if you want. Yeah. So, all right. So, you mentioned you had routines. And routines were important. What other routines would be important for you?
So healthy eating, obviously, exercise, all those things. Staying sharp mentally, and whether that's reading a book or being able to unplug from social media and go out in nature and allow that balance to calm things down. So really just making sure that you're taking care of all those aspects psychologically, emotionally, physically, and mentally. That's definitely things that are going to benefit you long term, and getting in those habits and staying in those habits is something that I have found to continue perpetuating success and happiness.
Yeah. And you know what? Hobbies, same thing. If you have bad hobbies, you're going to get used to bad things. You need 3 types of hobbies. You need 1 to exercise your body. So maybe basketball or tennis or going to the gym or whatever. You need 1 for stress. I go fishing. Other people can go walking. And you need 1 for your head, your mind. That could be anything from solving puzzles to playing chess, which I do, or technical analysis.
Yeah, that's a good way to break it down.
Yeah. A lot of people don't realize that it's also their environment, and I want you to tell me if you were in the right environment or you had to change your environment for this. And okay, they say, I can't remember who said it, you're the average of the 5 people you hang out with. And my mentor told me, If you hang out with 5 millionaires, you'll be the sixth. If you hang out with 5 drug addicts, you'll be the sixth. If you hang out with 5 losers, you will be the sixth. Were you in an environment that you had to get out of in order to succeed?
I wouldn't say that. I definitely transitioned very naturally into an environment that fostered success. So I'm very fortunate for that. And you are absolutely right. That was a point that's been sitting in my head, and you just segued perfectly into it, where you surrounding yourself with the right kind of person makes all the difference. And so, my business partner, Jason, and he really was nudging me to start the Chart Guys. And he, has an entrepreneurial mindset, and we've worked really well together. At the time that he was nudging me, I was living with an entrepreneur, and he was nudging me as well.
Yeah.
And so these people, both the two of them, contributed very significantly to the success of the Chart Guys and to starting this business and really helping people. And it was a major factor. I was just fortunate enough to be in that environment when the opportunity came along, and it definitely magnified my motivation and, just being able to have someone to brainstorm with. And, if that person's going to be negative, it's going to put doubts in your mind, and it's going to change how you are responding. And if they're, supportive, I can remember the guy I was living with, Graham, within the first 2 weeks, he saw the numbers that people were already interested, and we weren't doing any paid advertising or anything. And he said, "You're going to do really, really well with the Chart Guys." And I said, "Oh, that'd be nice." But I didn't really, fully believe him at that point. And then, a few months later, in hindsight, it was like, wow, he was dead on. He saw it early and definitely had a big impact.
Do you try other projects before the Chart Guys that you failed at? That's something of the same nature?
No, it was just, some early attempts, not necessarily that we failed at, but they were definitely precursors. We had some free chat rooms, so I got experience moderating a chat room and creating a little community. So that helped. And there were lessons learned along the way. One lesson that I learned very quickly is if you let people swear in a chat room and talk about politics, it's going to go downhill very quickly. So having, some basic rules, just we don't need to swear to convey ourselves. And, politics and religion have no place in a stock market chat room, just little things like that.
Okay. I actually want to talk about the Chart Guys and Jason later. I actually had a discussion with him. I actually want to interview Jason too, because he's like the guy behind the Chart Guys.
Exactly.
And there's a lot of stuff running there that people don't know about or understand. I want to get into an interview with him as well. We actually talked about that. And politics have no, very true, man. So let's talk about Donald Trump.
Yeah, let's just alienate half of the subscriber base real quick. And no, I'm very, there are things about my personal life and opinions that I keep that way just because, like I said, it's not relevant. It doesn't matter what I think about the president. What matters is what the chart says.
Well, here's what I'm very open about this because I'm in Greece. But I'll say this. And if you really, a lot of people are going to disagree with me. A lot of people are going to hate me. A lot of people are going to love me. And but if you really think about it, okay, it boils down to this: Donald Trump, as a businessman, is proven. Okay, he's proven he knows what he's done. Even he was given $1 million, he made it into billions. Yeah, and he sustained that. He lost it and made it back again. Okay. So obviously he knows about business. There's a lot of people you've given more than $1 million that they lost. There's a lot of people that won the lotto more than $1 million and lost it all, never to see it again. Trump made this grow. Yeah. Yes, he failed along the way in some things, but it doesn't matter because he just kept growing, and he became the president of the United States of America with one of the best campaigns I've ever seen, and people don't realize it. They still don't realize it, that he knew exactly what he was doing. He was playing with human psychology, and he became president. Now, as a president, if he's good or not, we don't know. Okay? Maybe he's not, maybe he is. There's arguments on both sides, and I'm willing to accept both sides. Yeah? We'll know in a few years if the world still exists, and we'll know if he was a good president or not. But yeah, as a businessman, I think is great. I think people should read his books. People should learn from him. if anything, because he's the president of the United States, you want to know how he thinks if you want to make money in this world. I really believe this. That's my opinion. You can stay silent and not comment if you want. There is no problem with that.
Yeah, no, that's fine. The opinions are great.
But yeah, purely on a business perspective, I mean, if that alone, yeah. Now, everyone has a gimmick, Dan, and Trump had his gimmick. Everyone has a gimmick. What do you think your gimmick is? Because for someone to become successful, he has to have a gimmick. Everyone needs a gimmick.
Let's see. Well, honestly, I think it's an anti-gimmick, if that makes sense. So a lot of people in this space, their gimmick is showing their fancy cars and showing their fancy house and saying, I'll make you rich. Come do what I do. I'll show you how to do this. Yeah. And I'm not doing that. And people really are responding well. And, you know, I show videos where I'm out in the garden and I'm hanging out with my goats or things like that. And people say, wow, you know, he's a real person. He's down to earth. He's not selling these unbelievable stories that are unlikely to happen. You know, our gimmick is we will help you understand markets more. We'll help you potentially be able to manage your funds better and empower you to do so. But I'm not going to say that I'm going to make you rich because I have no idea what kind of person you are. And I don't know if you have, you know, the psychology and the routines and all that to take what I tell you. You know, I always say that I could teach the same thing to two people, the exact same thing. One of them could be successful and be a trader for the rest of their lives. And the other person could blow up their account and fail in a month. And that is completely dependent on the individual. So just being a real person has been our best selling point. And people can really see that genuine, you know, no BS front.
Well, a teacher is only as good as a student. Yeah. And I can understand why some people do these things to grab attention, because that's how you get the views and that's how you help people. Some people are doing it because of that, but and we can talk about that if you want. But I'll say this: if you think if you're a millionaire, you'll buy a Lamborghini, you're dead wrong. If you have like $1 million or a little bit more, you're not gonna buy a Lamborghini. Don't be an idiot. And I'm talking to my viewers right now. You need to be a multi-millionaire to buy a Lamborghini. If you buy a Lamborghini with $1 million, believe me, you're going to lose that $1 million very fast. You have to sustain that, Lamborghini. It's like when I was younger and, I have an iPhone 7. But when I was younger, I had an iPhone and a lot of people were buying iPhones and they would miscall me. So I couldn't call them back. Like, how can you buy an iPhone and not be able to call somebody because you have no units? Because they would buy they get a card and put it on the iPhone. Like, come on, man. How are you going to drive a Lamborghini? It's a lot of cost. Now,
yeah, absolutely.
If you bought a white Hummer, on the other hand, that would make sense because you can actually give it out for weddings and stuff like that. But a Lamborghini, I don't think so.
Yeah, no, that's a point. And the cryptocurrency space loves talking about Lamborghinis, but if you're buying a new car, that's the step number one, rule number one. You want to accrue wealth and you want to be set for life. Don't buy a new car. It's pretty much the worst financial investment you can make. You're instantly giving money away, and it's an asset that will never appreciate. It's only going to depreciate.
Well, first of all, as soon as you buy it, it's 30% lower. As soon as you drive it out.
I'm driving the same used car that I've been driving for the last 4 years. And, I'm not going to change that because it works great and it does all that I need to do. And someone, on the side of the street sideswiped me the other night. And now there's a big fresh scratch on it and I could care less. And I love that.
I have an SUV. I will upgrade it to a Porsche Cayenne S at some point. But right now my Jeep goes on the beach. I go my fishing. It's fine. I don't plan on changing it anytime soon. My friend, my mentor, is one of them is a multi-millionaire. He owns a Jeep, an old one, an old Cherokee, and he has a sports Brabus, but not the. It's about maybe a 60,000 euro car. For a multi-millionaire, it's nothing, and that's it. And that's it. He doesn't care about Ferraris. He can buy 7 of them if he wants and maintain them. Just doesn't care. Now, everyone has their thing. Everyone likes investing in something. Everyone has their their passion, if you will. What's yours, Dan?
Definitely along the lines of farming. If I can buy a pack of seeds and some good soil and turn that into, that's the number one example of growing an investment. You start with these tiny seeds and you can get, dozens and dozens, if not hundreds of pounds of food from it. So that is something that I always love to look at from an investment and reaping rewards, and it pays dividends. And I love those plays on words. I make them all the time with regards to farming and crossing the two different worlds of farming and technical analysis, investing, and money management.
Well, farming is actually one of the best investments you can ever have. And I think Warren Buffett gave the example of, if you take all the gold in the world and you have a cube, you can actually fit in a cube in his living room, right? And or I don't know how big of a living room, but he would rather much own farmland, even less of it, because he'll make more money and he won't lose that money that much from the land. Whilst the other thing, you just look at it, it doesn't offer. So you need to buy things that pay you in general. Now, cryptocurrency trading, it's a bit of a difference because you're getting in and out, it's more speculative and everything. But in general, even NEO, it actually gives dividends. I mean, if I actually hold NEO, and that's because of the dividends long term. I was going to ask you at this point if you hold anything for it, but I know you don't because you answered the question before.
No, I will. Like I said, I mean, once we get a market correction, I will look to dividend stocks and I will look to things like that. But until then, I'm definitely going to stick with what's been working, and being agile and in and out has definitely been working.
Okay, so let's talk about the chart, guys. And let me just, I'm making notes here because I'm enjoying. Oh my God, I forgot to push record. No, I'm just kidding, man. So let's talk a little bit about the chart, guys. How did it start? How did it launch? And, how was it right at the beginning when you weren't sure it's going to work? What was that feeling you felt, like you and Jason, Talk to me about that.
Yeah, we had very, very modest goals. I said, if I can cover all at that point I had very low living expenses, as I'm generally a minimalist kind of person. So I said, if we can make $500 a month, I'm happy. Let's do it. And that obviously happened very quickly. So yeah, it was just an idea we started out with. We had no idea if anybody would care what we had to say. We knew that we had a good amount of knowledge because we had interacted with people in some chat rooms previously and gave, helped some people out. So we knew we had something that we could help people with. But yeah, the first days we had the chat room, and it was myself and Jason, and we made a third account that Jason was in control of, just so it didn't seem like a dead place. It was,
you got to do it. You got
just on the sidebar there, and yeah, it was just a fake person there, just so it seemed like it wasn't a ghost town. And yeah, so people started coming in, and it very slowly, and then probably in the first month we saw, all right, we've got something here. People are interested in this, so let's run with it and see what we can do with it. And at this point, it's blown up to the point that I never thought it would ever, in terms of the interest that people are showing, and very, very grateful with how it has all turned out.
Yeah, a lot of people, they don't know this about me. I used to be an entertainer, a rapper, and pretty known. I actually traveled Europe, the Balkans. I got a hit track and everything. A little bit mainstream, but it's a little bit commercial, but it's okay. I did the underground thing as well. And in the beginning, I was trying to promote myself, and it was doing okay because I was in sales and marketing. I was a better sales and marketeer than what I was a rapper. And what I did was I started, there was these forums, and, I noticed something. I'm like, you know what? I need some haters. So I actually made some account talking shit about me, but this started going viral, and more people started hearing things about me. And then obviously my real haters, because I had a nightclub before that, and people, there was a lot of jealousy. I was a bodyguard. I did a lot of stuff in my life. And my actual, haters, if you will, or enemies jumped on board feeding this. But then, at some point, people started supporting me as well. Yeah, and then just took a road on its own. It took a road on its own, and yeah, that's a secret I also never mentioned to anybody. But yeah,
That's a good one. Yeah, when we got our first haters, I said, "All right, we made it. You know, if you don't
yeah,
have haters, something's wrong. Like, where are my haters at?"
yeah, exactly. You like you start crying if you don't have them. So how did this continue? How did it go down the road? Did you and Jason ever have a fight?
Honestly, I mean, we've had some disagreements, but they're very brief. I've been astounded at how well we have worked together. We've never met. This is
Oh
now two and
wow!
a half, yeah, 2.5 years in. I've never met the man. I am going to his wedding in 2 weeks, so I will meet him in
Oh,
two
that's
weeks.
awesome.
Yeah, it honestly, I mean, it's couldn't have gone any better. It was really just we have this sick drive of entrepreneurship that we match each other with really well. So in terms of like, I know that every spare minute he has, he's doing something beneficial for the chart guys, and he
Yeah.
knows I'm doing the same thing. And we're on the same page in that regard. There's no imbalance of time commitment or anything like that. So it's gone perfectly. I couldn't have asked for a better partner, and really looking forward to meeting him. Although I do like the story that we've never met. It's definitely, very surprising to people. And once we lose that, it'll be yeah, we're partners.
So how did you meet him?
Actually, in the forums on Reddit, I was looking for people to teach technical analysis to, and I said, "Hey guys, the U.S. marijuana stocks are booming right now. Money is growing on trees. Let me show you." I mean, it sounded like a scam sales pitch in hindsight, but he responded and he showed a little bit of interest, and he was very skeptical.
Yeah.
And but he had an open mind, and we took his $700 and turned it into 10,000 in about a month, and he was a believer from then on out. But he was one of my first students, you could call it, and that was maybe 4 years ago. And so then, just continued staying in touch with him and doing chat rooms, and he continued his thirst for knowledge, and I was answering questions and all that. So I was his mentor, and he was my first student essentially.
Wow. That's great. Look, okay, so I'm gonna have to save some questions for Jason for our interview. So I'm gonna leave more chart guys questions for him. I'm
Sure.
gonna ask you a series of quick questions.
All right.
So you mentioned you turned $700 into 10,000. What would you suggest somebody with $1,000 do in the cryptocurrency space or any space right now?
Definitely don't try and be a trader right away. You need to, if you're going to want money in cryptocurrencies, look at it from a long-term perspective. And then while that is happening, educate yourself and hit the books and gain that knowledge. Because if you try to start trading with $1,000, you will lose it. There's a 99% chance of that. You have to educate yourself first. So if you want your skin in the game, I suggest, maybe save a small amount so you can psychologically see what it's like to have money on the line, but look at it from an investing standpoint rather than a trading standpoint until you're comfortable and until you've gone through many, many hours, hundreds of hours of education and practice.
Yeah, I can verify that with a lot more than $1,000.
Yeah.
I learned the hard way, man. Okay. In cryptocurrency, if somebody is a swing trader or a long-term trader, I know you're into short-term, but what coins would you suggest he would get into and why?
Well, Ethereum was the first interest that I took in cryptocurrency. And that was the one that started everything. And I love the idea behind it. I love the smart contracts and the functionality for decentralized apps and all of that. And I do think that there is a bright future for it all. So I am very interested in that. I'm also taking an interest now in a new coin, Shipcoin, and that's not tradable yet, but check out that Shipcoin. But that's really we had a former member at the Chart Guys who grew up with shipping in his blood, the trucking industry. And so he's been working in the space, and he is very big into blockchain revolutionizing the shipping industry. And it just really makes a lot of sense that blockchain will revolutionize the shipping industry and increase transparency and eliminate the middleman broker. And it's going to do big things. And so that's a coin that I'm interested in. And I'm going to be putting out some more fundamentally based videos on that, which I haven't done in the past. But it is a project that I'm very interested in, and I'm looking forward to a conference up in Atlanta in May, and they're going to be there. So that's a space that I'm starting to explore because, I am very interested in the potential of this technology on the future. And so that fundamentals are definitely important for that if we're looking, 5, 10 years down the road.
It's funny you said that. I actually know a lot of ship owners. I mean, Greece has the most ships in the world, at least the commercial ships.
Hmm.
As of now, they always did, and if not with the Greek flag, with other flags, but the Greeks. But that's actually very, very interesting. If you ever meet any of those people in the shipping industry and they want, someone to introduce them to people in Greece, I can definitely get that done for them.
All right,
Definitely,
good to know.
I'm very close. Any other coins other than those two?
In terms of long term, I like the way that Dash does things in terms of what they do. It's almost like an open, public sourced company in the sense that if you have a certain stake in it, they have these coins that are released I believe it's every month. And
Hmm.
if you have a stake, if you're, if you have a stake, you have a vote in what happens with that money.
Hmm.
So people are proposing these ideas, should we buy a Super Bowl commercial, or should we, how can we advertise things, and how can we make people aware of Dash? And people are voting on, okay, let's use these funds for this. And it's a way that almost is like the way that a decentralized company would run, so to speak. So just that model is interesting to me, and I'm interested in watching it play out. And I have a friend that's really into it, and he's really excited about it. So for that reason as well, I'm very interested to see how it plays out.
Yeah. If anything, just the engagement alone will make it work, right? I mean,
Yeah,
if they have a if anything has a good community. Okay.
exactly.
And same question for stocks.
Well, the Canadian marijuana sector, big fan of that. The doors are just going to open and it's going to be federally legal. So that's a known $1 billion market that's been suppressed. So really looking forward to that. And then it'll happen in the US eventually. It's only a matter of time. And that will be another huge opportunity. There's going to be money pouring into that sector once it's, federally legal here, which in my opinion is just a matter of years. Could be 2 years, could be 10 years, but
Yeah.
it will happen and it will be a huge opportunity. So I'm accruing money for that time, starting now, and going to have a big pile ready to go to capitalize on that opportunity. In terms of individual companies right now, related to the blockchain space, we've got these semiconductor companies that are doing well. NVDA was really, the market loved NVDA all 2017. And blockchain stocks, it's a very early technology. So these blockchain stocks are not really putting a whole lot of faith into at this point. But that space around the cryptocurrency space, there's a lot of interest. And in terms of, the major names, the big names, I'm not as interested in the Facebook and the Apples and the Googles. Obviously, they've proven themselves many times over, and they're not going anywhere anytime soon.
Hmm.
So as long as the market stays strong, those names will stay strong.
IBM, because they're going to get involved in blockchain, maybe. I
Absolutely.
think they're
Yep.
involved with Stellar, aren't they?
Yep. IBM, I've already seen their commercials, and I'm already seeing their
Really?
commercials where, yep, I saw during the football NFL playoffs, American football, they had IBM commercials about the shipping industry and how, they're going to use blockchain to
Oh,
revolutionize it.
wow.
Hmm.
So IBM might be a nice combination with Shipcoin.
Yeah, definitely. They're in the same space for sure.
Can I add one stock, I believe, one area, sector, sorry, which I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I know I might be wrong, okay, but I see augmented reality being a thing.
Yeah, and maybe a year ago I had an idea for an augmented reality thing, and yeah, I agree with you.
Mm.
Um, my idea was a more of a game kind of thing, but once we have self-driving cars and we got these little screens in the middle and we don't have to focus on the road, but imagine a camera that's showing, well, maybe I don't want to give this idea, but a camera that's showing, as you're driving down the road and there's augmented reality
Yeah,
things going on, and you can be, there's monsters or dinosaurs on the side of the road interacting with the bridge that you're going under right now, and
yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
have to you have to shoot the dinosaur off the bridge or whatever.
Like a Pokemon thing as well. And
Yeah,
people can find
games that
crypto along the
augmented.
road. And I'm actually surprised no one has done the Pokemon version with cryptocurrency yet. And I'm going to say this idea right now. If you got anyone out there is listening and they want to make money right now, just make an ICO. Just the idea will make you the money, right? And just take Pokemon, copy it down to the nail, and just change things around. And anything you find is cryptocurrency. Like, so you can make cryptocurrency. That could be a way of mining, if you will, or whatever. That will make millions. There is no way that will fail. Do it.
So are you augmented reality where I can like go and look at, at the grove of trees down there, and there maybe is a cryptocurrency that I can pick up?
You know what I mean? But I'm talking about one stage before that. They can do it now and then expand into that later. So that can be like the upgrade, the roadmap.
Yeah, an Easter egg hunt for cryptocurrencies.
Yeah, feel free to use my idea, guys. Just mention me. I don't want no money, nothing. Just mention that, hey, thanks to Paul for this. I would appreciate it. Now it's on YouTube. You can't do otherwise. Yeah. So, I like helping people make money. I like helping people become rich. I mean, I already mentioned it was a big part of the book on how to make money and stuff. So, last question is, what was my last question? Yeah, I got a stupid question. It's kind of a personal question. I'm under the impression that cryptocurrency, the marijuana stocks of cryptocurrency, I think it's called marijuana coin, the other one's called Potcoin, all that, have nothing to do with the actual industry like the stocks do. Am I right or am I wrong?
You're right in the sense that they're not widely adopted and being used right now. And I've talked to some people in the space that still use Bitcoin for, transferring of funds because it's so hard to be able to have access to banks when you're in that space.
Yeah.
It doesn't, I don't see the need that those coins serve that other coins couldn't serve. Right.
Okay, Dan, is there anything else you would like to ask? Add.
No, just some more of our services. We've got a crypto alert system that crypto.chartguys.com, and we are going to update that with a better domain name and rebrand it. But it's an alert system that sends out signals when certain aspects of the chart indicators line up, and people have given really, really positive feedback. Again, another thing that we haven't done any paid advertising for, and we got, over 1,000 people using it and telling their friends, and just word of mouth. And the fact that it's helping people is really the selling point in its own. So and that's a really fun project where we've taken a lot of creative license and we're making our own indicators. And I'm saying, what am I looking for on the chart? How can we quantify that? And then when those conditions line up, send that alert out to people. So it's been a lot of fun, and it's going to continue being a lot of fun, as that is one of our major projects we're working on now.
Great. Dan, I would like to, all these links, by the way, guys, are down in the description below. Make sure you check out thechartguys.com. Make sure you check out the YouTube channel. Make sure you check out everything. If you want to make money as a technical analysis, whether it's in stocks, crypto, whatever, check this out. I cannot stress this enough. Just do it. Go, do it now. Dan, thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. It was a great interview. I enjoyed it. And I loved every single minute of it. I learned a lot. And really, man, thank you. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely, Paul. Glad to be here, and thanks for having me.
Take care. Bye-bye.